What if the greatest challenge in Indian history was not winning a battle, not building a palace, not collecting gold, not even defeating your enemies? What if the real challenge was this? How do you rule a land that refuses to become one thing? A land of hundreds of languages, a land of ancient kingdoms, a land of temples, mosques, forts, deserts, rivers, warriors, merchants, priests, farmers, and philosophers. A land where every region remembers its own heroes. A land where every ruler believes his throne is sacred. Now imagine trying to place one crown above all of it, not for 1 year, not for 1 generation, but long enough to create one of the richest, most powerful, and most unforgettable empires in world history. This is the story of the Mughal Empire. And at the center of it stands one emperor, Akbar, a boy who inherited a fragile throne at 13, a warrior who conquered fortress after fortress, a ruler who understood something that many conquerors never learned. India could not be ruled by the sword alone. It had to be understood. It had to be negotiated with. It had to be reorganized. And in some ways, it had to be imagined again. So the mystery of this episode is simple. How did Akbar take a divided India and turn it into an empire? The year is 1556. India is not one country. It is a world of rival powers. In the north, old Afghan rulers still dream of taking Delhi. In Rajasthan, Rajput kingdoms guard their mountain forts with fierce pride. In Gujarat, Bengal, Malwa, and the Deccan, powerful regional states control trade, armies, and wealth. And in the middle of this unstable world sits the young Mughal prince Akbar. He is only 13 years old. His father, Humayun, has just died. The Mughal Empire is not yet the giant empire people remember today. It is vulnerable. It is uncertain. It could disappear. Akbar's grandfather, Babur, had defeated the Delhi Sultanate at Panipat in 1526 and opened the Mughal age in India. But conquest is not the same as control. Babur won a battlefield. Humayun struggled to keep a kingdom. And now Akbar has inherited the most dangerous thing in politics, a throne that everyone else wants. At this moment, the question is not whether Akbar will become great. The question is whether he will survive. Before Akbar can dream of ruling India, he must first keep Delhi. And one man stands in his way, Hemu, a brilliant military commander who has risen from the chaos of North India. He captures Delhi. He threatens Agra. For a moment, it looks as if the Mughal story may end almost as soon as it begins. The battlefield chosen is Panipat, the same plain where Babur had changed Indian history 30 years earlier. Now the question returns. Will Panipat destroy the Mughals or save them? Akbar is young. Too young to carry the image of an emperor, but behind him stands Bayram Khan, the experienced commander who guides the Mughal forces. The battle is not only between two armies, it is between two futures. If Hemu wins, the Mughals may be pushed out. If Akbar wins, Delhi returns to Mughal hands. On the field of Panipat, the young emperor survives his first great test. The Mughal throne is saved, but Akbar has learned something important. A throne can be won in a day. An empire cannot. After Panipat, Akbar holds Delhi and Agra, but Delhi is not India. Agra is not India. A few cities do not make an empire. The real problem lies beyond the capital. India is too large, too old, and too complex to be ruled like a captured fortress. Every region has its own power. Every ruler has his own pride. Every noble has his own army. Every tax collector has his own interest. Every religion has its own institutions. Every village has its own memory. This is the great puzzle Akbar faces. If he only conquers, he will spend his life fighting rebellions. So Akbar begins to search for a different answer. He will still fight. He will still expand. He will still demand loyalty. But slowly, his empire becomes something more than conquest. It becomes a system, a machine, a political imagination large enough to hold difference inside it. To understand Akbar's genius, we must look west, to Rajasthan, a land of desert kingdoms, stone forts, warrior clans, and ancient prestige. The Rajputs are not simply local rulers. They are symbols of honor, lineage, and military pride. They control strategic forts. They command loyal warriors. They know the land. And they do not easily bow. For many conquerors, the answer would be simple. Break them, replace them, humiliate them. But Akbar sees another possibility. What if the Rajputs do not have to be destroyed? What if they can be brought inside the empire? What if yesterday's rivals can become tomorrow's generals? This does not mean Akbar avoids war. When kingdoms resist him, he can be ruthless. The siege of Chittor in 1568 becomes one of the harshest moments of his reign. But Akbar does not rely only on fear. With many Rajput houses, especially those willing to accept his authority, he builds alliances. Rajput princes enter Mughal service. Some rise to high rank, some become commanders, some govern provinces. The empire begins to look different. It is no longer only a Central Asian Muslim dynasty ruling over India. It becomes a court where Persianate imperial culture, Indian political traditions, Muslim nobles, Hindu Rajputs, administrators, soldiers, and regional elites are drawn into one structure. Akbar is not just defeating India's warrior kingdoms, he is recruiting them, and that changes everything. But alliances are not enough. An empire cannot survive on personal promises alone. It needs structure, it needs ranking, it needs revenue, it needs records, it needs an army that belongs to the emperor, not only to local nobles. So Akbar builds one of the most important systems of Mughal rule, the Mansabdari system. In simple terms, it is a ranking system for imperial service. Nobles are given ranks. Those ranks define their status, responsibilities, and military obligations. A man's place in the empire is no longer only about his birth, it is also about his service to the emperor. This is powerful, because Akbar can now bring different groups into one imperial ladder. Turani nobles, Iranian nobles, Indian Muslims, Rajputs, Hindu administrators, military men, court officials. They may come from different worlds, but inside the Mughal system, they are measured by imperial rank. This turns diversity into hierarchy, and hierarchy into control. Then comes revenue. No empire survives without money. Muslims, Hindus, Jains, Christians, Zoroastrians. Different voices enter the emperor's world. This does not mean Akbar becomes a modern liberal ruler in the way people might imagine today. He is still an emperor. He still demands obedience. He still stands at the center, but he understands something extraordinary for his time. In a diverse empire, tolerance can be a political weapon, not a weakness. A weapon stronger than fear. Every empire builds a city that reveals its soul. For Akbar, that city is Fatehpur Sikri. Rising from the red sandstone of northern India, it is not just a capital. It is an idea made of stone. Palaces, courtyards, gates, mosques, private chambers, public halls, spaces for ceremony, spaces for discussion, spaces for power. But there is another problem, a deeper problem: religion. Akbar is a Muslim emperor ruling over a population that is mostly not Muslim. In many empires, this would create a permanent wall between ruler and ruled. The court on one side, the people on the other, the emperor's faith above, the majority's faith below. That kind of empire can survive for a while. But Akbar wants something larger. He wants loyalty across religious lines. He wants Hindu elites, Muslim nobles, Jain thinkers, Sufi saints, priests, merchants, soldiers, and local communities to see the Mughal state as legitimate. So he begins changing the atmosphere of power. He reduces discrimination against non-Muslims. He abolishes certain taxes that mark religious difference, including the jizya. He welcomes Hindu Rajputs into high office. He shows interest in multiple religious traditions. He invites debate. He listens. He experiments. At Fatehpur Sikri, his new imperial city, Akbar creates a space known as the Ibadat Khana, a house of worship or discussion where religious scholars and thinkers gather. Muslims, Hindus, Jains, Christians, Zoroastrians. Different voices enter the emperor's world. This does not mean Akbar becomes a modern liberal ruler in the way people might imagine today. He is still an emperor. He still demands obedience. He still stands at the center. But he understands something extraordinary for his time. In a diverse empire, tolerance can be a political weapon, not a weakness. A weapon stronger than fear, because fear can force obedience, but inclusion can create loyalty. Every empire builds a city that reveals its soul. For Akbar, that city is Fatehpur Sikri. Rising from the red sandstone of northern India, it is not just a capital. It is an idea made of stone. Palaces, courtyards, gates, mosques, private chambers, public halls, spaces for ceremony, spaces for discussion, spaces for power. Akbar stands on a balcony at sunrise, looking over a vast landscape. Below him, soldiers, scholars, farmers, artists, Rajput nobles, merchants, and religious figures appear in a slow, cinematic montage. The map of India glows, not as one flat color, but as many lights connected by golden lines. But Fatehpur Sikri also carries a warning. Even the most beautiful imperial dreams are fragile. The city will not remain the Mughal capital forever. Water problems, strategy, and shifting imperial needs will pull the court elsewhere. But its meaning survives. For a brief moment, Akbar built a city that looked like his answer to the Indian puzzle. A city where power, faith, architecture, and empire all met under one red sandstone sky. So the next time you see Mughal architecture, Mughal paintings, Mughal gardens, or the traces of Mughal culture in Indian language, food, and memory, remember the question behind them. How do you rule a civilization too vast to become one thing? Akbar's answer was empire. An empire of war and negotiation, an empire of faith and power, an empire of beauty and control, an empire that did not simply sit on top of India, it entered India's memory. And once an empire enters memory, it never fully disappears. This was the story of Akbar, the emperor who asked the impossible question, how can one throne hold 1,000 worlds? And for a time, he made the answer look possible.